All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Gooner Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it is to preview the Everton versus Arsenal game. Now, it feels like it's been a while since I've done a video. Initially, I was going to do a show for this particular game. I'll end up doing a show tomorrow, straight after the game. I have a couple of people on for that. But yeah, it just feels like it's been a while since I've spoken to you guys. Um, I guess it's almost the calm before the storm because pretty much from now onwards, Arsenal are going to be in full pelt mode. This is, like the title of the video says, this is the business end mode of the season. The business end of the season, and we've got to click into our mode. Once upon a time, we used to be really good finishers of a season. The cynical part of me, and I know there's a couple of you out there who's just as cynical as me, will say, well, yeah, that's usually because we're out of everything by the time April hits, and then we decide, yeah, we're gonna pressure's off and we're gonna kick into gear. Pressure's about to really come on now. There's no doubt about it. We've got some tricky games, and they're the type of games where, on the one hand, they are all winnable games for Arsenal. Every single one of them. In theory. Every single one of those games is winnable. The only problem is we're not playing teams necessarily in the bottom half of the table. Yeah, we've got Brighton at home, and I'm talking specifically about the away games here, you know. And I know a lot of people have overlooked this particular game that we're playing tomorrow against Everton because recent history dictates that we have had good results against Everton. You know, this is a far cry from the physical team that was under David Moyes. They used to just bully Arsenal about for fun. They're under Silva, and they're not had the best of seasons. But the one thing I will say about Everton is, of late, they've started to pick up form. They also have very good, very mobile, very quick players. And I'm not just talking about Wally Walcott. I'm talking about people like Andre Gomez, who's a very good technical player. They've got Calvin Lewin, who does the job for them up top. They've got Idris Agana Gay, who most of us would have in our teams. Let's be real here. They have some really good players, and this is not going to be an easy game. Arsenal do play this game at 2:05 on Sunday. I believe we're the only Premier League game tomorrow. They forgot Richarlison. Sorry, I forgot to even mention him, who has tended to be ineffective. Here's me jinxing it now. Let me touch the wood while I say this. Who tends to be ineffective when he's played for Watford or Everton in the past against Arsenal. But let's be real here. He's fast, he's mobile. And you can imagine him targeting someone like an Ainsley Maitland-Niles tomorrow, who is still learning his trade, who's still learning his craft. So I think the team that we pick tomorrow is going to have to be an interesting one. It's going to have to be a balanced one. And no matter what, people who step onto that pitch, and I'll come back to this point in a minute, every single one of them is going to have to work very, very hard. Now, there's been a lot of focus recently from Emery's point of view on the summer transfer window, which is pretty normal around this time of season. You know, they're asking him a lot of questions regarding, you know, the sort of players that he'd like. And he's given the answer that, to be honest, I would give if I was in his position. Yes, I've always said this. For me, I think developing young players is very, very, very important to any football club. There's no better feeling for a fan when you've seen a young player who's come through the ranks and is doing so well, which is why, you know, certain people overly, in my opinion, hold people like Jack Wilshere so highly in regard, because this is someone that's come through the ranks at an early age, albeit from the West Ham Academy. He's come through the ranks and he's done well, and he's kicked on to go and play for the side. It's why I'm so confused that people don't have that same protection when it comes to the likes of someone like Alex Iwobi, who's done the same thing. But anyway, I digress. But I've always said to you as well that sentiment shouldn't rule this club. And yeah, having a balance of young players is important. You know, I learned today that Emil Smith-Rowe, it looks like he's going to stay, or he's going to go out to Leipzig again next season because he's not really had a chance to play due to the injury. He's going to go out there next season and ply his trade. And I think that's good. That's good for his development. And I believe that Reece Nelson will come back a stronger player because he's done that. Having said all of that, there needs to be a balance, you know, and as much as I can't stand Liverpool fans, I actually don't mind Liverpool as a team. I actually quite like watching them play. And, you know, the difference that bringing in someone like a Van Dijk has made to their team, it's been all the difference. For us, I think our defensive problems were always a little bit more serious than Liverpool's ones, in the sense that a lot of our goals have always tended to come from the fact that we have very attacking fullbacks, and it leaves a lot of holes and exposure in our team. And I think that's why the likes of someone like Socrates, people hold Socrates in such high regard. Please don't get it twisted about what I'm about to say. I love Socrates. But you know, one thing that I love Lee Judges for, shout out to Lee Judges, he said something which I've always been saying amongst like my friends here and there, just secretly. I love Socrates. But if we're being real, if we're being honest, in an ideal world, someone like Socrates should be first alternate to the actual defensive partnership. But we are where we are, and because our defense has been so terrible over the years, Socrates has been held in that high regard. But nevertheless, like I said, we are where we are, and Socrates is in place. And I think in the long term, we do need someone that can play alongside him, and potentially another one to replace him. I'm very hopeful for people like Rob Holding, people like Mavropanos. I know you guys will scoff at this, but I still rate him. Callum Chambers, come at me. I don't care. I still like him as a player. So these are the sort of players that, for me, I'm quite excited to see next season. But we've got to add to that. We've got to buy a left back, yo. We've got to buy a left back. And yeah, I guess that's kind of my 2 cents on the defensive situation. But anyway, I digress. Going back to this game, I think it has been interesting seeing Emre over the last week give Mesut Ozil so many compliments. I thought he played very well against Newcastle, but I actually am more impressed with the way he's changed his game, because he's not necessarily doing the typical Mesut Ozil thing. He's actually working hard. He's actually playing in a different type of way. You know, I see lots of people out there who I can only say, you don't understand what Emre's done if you honestly have this opinion. And you see a lot of people saying, oh, well, we're starting to win out there because Mesut Ozil's been inserted into the team. No, maybe Mesut Ozil's getting into the team because he's learned something through this experience of being dropped and being held back by Emre. It's forced him to work hard. It's forced him, as I said in previous videos, to be undeniable to Unai Emery. And we're starting to see the rewards of that. Because by hook or by crook, whether you love Mesut, whether you hate Mesut, he's with us at least until the end of the season. This is an asset which we need to utilize and need to get the best out of if we're going to drag ourselves over that line. And that's what it comes down to. And I think that Emre has done that perfectly, to be honest. I think he's handled, in my view, the Mesut Ozil situation perfectly. But let's be real here. A real measure of the success of how well it's worked is these next games, because we know Mesut can perform at home, but it's the likes of your Evertons away, your Wolves away, your Leicester's away, which are our next 3 away games. All difficult games. All games against teams that, let's be real here. That's the one today. And they destroy. I mean, it's Huddersfield, but they destroyed Huddersfield. These are all teams that play on their counter attack, and these are all teams that are chasing a Europa League spot, which for them is huge. So this is going to be difficult. And I think Everton, in theory, is the easiest out of those three, but we need to get into a rhythm because whilst our away form has been better this season, it's still not great. So my hope for that is that we picked a balanced side, but a side that is prepared to work and fight in order to get the result that we need. And the side that I pick for against Everton will reflect that. Just keep that in mind. So for me, I'm going to go with Bernd Leno in goal because, of course, I'm going 3 at the back. I'm going to go with, for me, Socrates, Koscielny, and Monreal because I think when you're playing 3 at the back, those are the 3 you need to play. I don't think a certain Squadron Mustafi needs to play against his former side. And I think a side that is going to be so dangerous on the counter-attack, the last thing we need is this guy making some sort of stupid mistake and we're left recovering and on the back foot. So for me, those are the 3 that I would play. Left wing back, Kolasinac, played very well recently. I'd like to see him be defensively better because I think Everton are going to ask questions in that area and Monreal will need his help. Right wing back, Ainsley Maitland-Niles has to be on it. Because Richarlison I'm not sure I rate him all the way, Richarlison, I must admit. Like when he was being linked with Arsenal, I was like, nah, no thanks. I've never really rated him that much. But the one thing I will say about him is he's quick and he's going to run into them areas that are going to cause him problems. So I think Ainsley Maitland-Niles needs to be switched on. This run that he's on is an opportunity for him to say to Unai Emery, no, you don't need another right back. I've got this. So I'm hoping he continues to develop. I think he's doing well. He just needs to kick on now. So I put him there. In the middle, I'm going to go with Matteo Guendouzi. I don't know. This is another guy that's getting some Iwobi level hate. I don't get it because I think the kid is very, 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 very talented. I've recently done a list on Twitter about best young players, and I went for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. The main reason being because he's adjusted from being a central midfielder to being whatever we needed it to be, which at the moment is a right back. I think that's why I gave him best young player of the season at the moment. But I tell you what, it was a close run thing for Guendouzi. I think Guendouzi slotted in well, considering he came from the second tier of the French football. I mean, come on. Most people think French football, that their first division ain't good enough. Never mind the second tier. So I think he's doing amazingly well. So yeah, for me, I put Guendouzi in there. Granit Xhaka comes back from injury and comes into play here. I think he's played very, very well. Listen, I'll give you something with Xhaka. I think there's a reasonable chance, and I still say it, that the club might say, "All right, Xhaka, you really want to go that bad? Because we ain't going to give you a salary rise. So if you really want to go that bad, cool, we'll sell you." I still think that there's a reasonable chance that could happen. But the one thing I would say for Granit is that I think he has improved a lot. I still think there's an occasional lapse of concentration in him. I still think he's a poor short passer. But the one thing I like about his play is that he at least is starting to think a little bit more offensively. Defensively is clearly not his thing. But defensively, I like what he's doing. So for me, I put Granit Xhaka in there. So I've got 4 left, right? So I've got 4 left, have I? Yes. So I'm going to go with Mesut Ozil. as kind of the left side number 10. I think Mesut Ozil's been in good form, and it wasn't so long ago that I would never have considered him even in the squad for this side. But I think he's proved that he's prepared to work hard. We need to just carry that over, and I would like to see him play. So yeah, Mesut Ozil plays for me. On the right-hand side, as a kind of a number 10, I'm going to play Mkhitaryan because I think Mkhitaryan has been in excellent form recently. Liked what he did even when he came on against Newcastle on Monday. I thought he played pretty well. So I'd like to see him play in this game. And I think it was this game last year where he got like 3 assists or some shit. So yeah, I'd like to see Mkhitaryan play in this game. And then up top, I'm going with Lacazette, which is no disrespect to Aubameyang. I think Aubameyang will be a useful tool to bring on as Everton start to tire. They start to use a lot of energy because you best believe they're going to press. So I think as that starts to happen, you then bring on an Aubameyang and start to create problems. Him and Iwobi, I can see later on in the game making an impact. But I think for now, that would be the side that I'd like to see play. I think this will be a difficult game. I've seen what you guys have said, particularly in my last video, particularly in the player ratings video. I know you guys have been ultra confident that we'll smash Everton. I ain't so sure. I think it'll be tight. And I've always felt like 1-0 is a good scoreline. We have been on this little mini run, if you like, of clean sheets. Let's see if we can keep it up against Everton. But don't forget the scoring part as well. We need these 3 points, yo. We need these 3 points. We need to win as many times as possible. I think in the next, we've got 7 games left, 21 points available. If we can get 18, I think we'll get there. If we can get 16, I think we'll get there. 15, it might be squeaky bum time. So let's see. You guys let me know what you think. Leave it in the comments below. If you like this video, crush, destroy, drop kick that like button. You know I appreciate it when you guys do that. I'm going to be back tomorrow straight after the game to do a show, probably with Ola, hopefully with Sadia, possibly with Lee, depending on how available Lee is. So I'll let you know. Do crush that like button, honestly. I really appreciate when you guys do that. All right? All right, I'm out of here. Leave it to your Saturday nights. I won the Grand National, so I'm nice and happy. So I'm going to leave you guys to it. And yeah, take care, people. Deuces. Bye.